Greetings, globe heads and flatards. Today I'm going to talk about silly things that flat earthers say. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to just start right off with my absolute favorite flat earther line. I'm sure you've heard it over and over again, probably till you're sick of hearing it. Water finds and maintains its own level. Now, this is why this is my favorite flat earther comment, because most flat earthers, in fact everyone that I've ever had a conversation with, doesn't believe in gravity. Why do you think water finds and maintains a level? Do you think water magically knows which way is down? Do you think the water molecules all just talk to each other and say, let's decide where level is and let's all go there? No. Water is a fluid, and the nature of fluids is that they're pulled down by gravity and take the shape of the container that they're in. And so therefore, water is pulled down. On Earth, eventually all the water will end up at sea level, unless something else is stopping it. And by the way, this is not called sea flat, it's sea level. On a globe, water is naturally going to form into a globe, and this leads me to my very next favorite flat earther silly line. Water can't stick to a spinning ball. There's two parts of this that make this especially hilarious, because it shows two fundamental things about science and physics that flat earthers don't understand. The first one is, and you'll see them run this quote-unquote experiment where they'll pour water on a basketball or they'll pour water on a tennis ball or something and watch it run off to the bottom and say, see, here's your proof. Why do you think this is happening? Could it be that your basketball is somewhere very near the surface of a ball trillions of times larger with much more mass and a much stronger gravitational pull? Could it be the ball you're actually standing on is what is pulling that water off the little ball in your hand? Have you ever thought about that? You see, any experiment that you do on Earth is going to be affected by the gravity of Earth, okay? And regardless of how much you deny it, we've done these experiments in space. They can pour water out all by itself without any other ball or anything solid, and the water itself will form into a ball because of its own gravity. Obviously, if you're on the Earth, you're next to a much, much larger and more massive thing with its own gravity that's going to take that water away from whatever you're pouring it on. This is not rocket science. But the second part of this is the spinning. I've seen them do this where they spin a tennis ball and show you all the water being flung off of it, and they try to argue that, well, the water is going to be flung off of the globe if we're really spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. Well, when you're talking about centrifugal force, the Earth spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, 1,040 approximately, is incredibly slow. Okay? You would have to approximate that experiment, you would have to take that tennis ball and spin it so slowly that it takes an entire 24 hours to rotate one complete time. Because that's how fast the Earth spins. You see, centrifugal force is not caused by the speed. It's caused by the change in direction relative to that speed. And when you're going 1,000 miles an hour on a line that is a circle that is 25,000 miles around, you're going very slow in relation to, I mean, you're turning very, very slowly in relation to your speed. you're not going to feel any centrifugal force. I mean, think of it this way. If you're in a car and you go around a corner and you feel the force of centrifugal force throw you to one side of the car or the other because you're turning, that's what centrifugal force does. But try taking that corner at a speed so slowly that you'll only make one complete 360 degree turn in a day. You're not going to feel any centrifugal force at all, my friends. None. Okay? So that is a ridiculous thing that flat earthers try to argue. My next one, and I really, really love this one, is that you can't have air pressure next to a vacuum or the air of the earth. If there wasn't a dome or something, the air from the earth would all just get sucked out into space. Again, this total misunderstanding of science is caused by you trying to do your experiment on the surface of the earth. Now, if I have a plastic bottle down here on the earth and I somehow suck all of the air out of it and have a vacuum in there and seal it up, that bottle's going to get smashed flat. But it's not because suction is some magical force drawing the sides of the bottle together. There is no force called suction. All I have done is made that an emptiness. There's nothing in the bottle. And because of that, the weight of the air that's on the earth pushing down at 14.7 pounds per square inch on that bottle is going to crush that empty bottle. It's simple science. The gravity is pulling the air down. Everything on earth, everything that is matter has a weight. There's no such thing as weightless matter. Take helium, for example. Helium has weight. Helium is affected by gravity. The reason why helium balloons go up is not because they're somehow immune to gravity, but because the air surrounding the helium balloon is heavier, and the gravity pulls that air down under the balloon, which pushes it up. Again, this is science, but it's not rocket science. It shouldn't be hard for anybody to understand. When you think about our atmosphere, first of all, proof alone that it's not a pressurized system inside of a dome, all you have to do to prove that is climb a mountain. And as you go up the mountain, you will find that the air pressure decreases and decreases and decreases. That is impossible in a closed system. That's impossible when you have a system that is like got a lid on it and is pressurized. It doesn't work that way. What's happening is that air has mass, and that mass causes gravity to pull it down toward the earth. And because the more air you have above you, the more weight of air you have pushing down on you, the higher the air pressure is. And that air pressure keeps getting lower as you get higher. At the height that commercial planes fly, if those planes aren't pressurized, you literally can't breathe and you will die. Okay, there's not enough oxygen or air up there to breathe. And this gradient keeps fading out until you get to space. Now, there's not a solid border where, okay, now the air has ended and space began, because, like I said, it kind of fades out. But if you were somewhere near where the end of air was, the vacuum of space is not a force sucking the air toward it, because that's not what a vacuum is. Even a vacuum cleaner. A vacuum cleaner lowers the air pressure inside the vacuum cleaner, and it is literally gravity that pushes the air into the front of the vacuum cleaner to seek that lower air pressure. Suction is not a force, people. It doesn't work that way. So the gravity is pulling the air toward the earth, and there is no force pulling it away. So that's the next really silly thing that flat earthers say. And finally, I've touched on all of these, but the one that makes me the most incredulous is flat earthers' denial that gravity even exists. Every single time that you step out of bed, you prove gravity once again. Now, if you want to talk about whether or not we fully understand what causes gravity, that's a discussion we can have. But not only has it been proven over and over again that there is gravity, but we understand enough about it that we can measure it and we can make predictions. We can look out to another planet, and based on the way the planet acts, we can figure out what its makeup is, what its mass is, and therefore how strong the gravity will be on that planet. And then when we send something out to, for example, Mars, we know what the gravitational pull is, so we know exactly how we have to operate whatever craft it is in order to land there. If we didn't know the gravity and we were just totally guessing at it, we'd crash every spaceship we tried to land. Again, I know flat earthers believe it's all fake. Simply denying all the mountains of evidence out there doesn't make them go away. And the fact is that we make predictions using our understanding of gravity, and it has been proven over and over and over again. What has never ever happened is there's never been a prediction made based on any flat earth model that has then come true. For example, we can look at the movement of the planets, their size and shape and all that stuff, and we can tell you exactly where they're going to be in the future. We can predict the exact time, date, and location of the next solar eclipse. The flat earth model has never ever demonstrated the ability to make any predictions. And that's basically how science works. If you have a theory and you can test that theory by making predictions, and those predictions come true, you've got a really strong theory. But if you can't do that, your theory is worthless. Again, enjoy your time on YouTube and don't fall for the snake oil salesman.